Hello there, I'm Android and welcome to Blast Photography Training. I know we had a little bit of a rough start last week with some technical issues and all. Well, I'm sorry about that. I've decided to make this a pre recorded session, so please follow closely and get a pen, get a paper so you can take notes and be prepared to learn a whole lot from this session. This is Blast Photography Internship, and my name is Igbinosar Saratin Isaac. I'm the CEO of Blast Blended Art Studio. A little bit about us before we proceed. Blast is an acronym for Blended Art Studio. So the BL stands for Blended, A at the middle for art, ST for studio. Now we have been in existence since 2017 actually, and formerly known with the art name Android Druid. So before we started calling ourselves Blast, it was just me creating artworks and the brand was Android Druid. So the nickname Android kind of flowed from there. And in 2019, we decided to coin like an umbrella organization that contains both the art and photography and any other thing we intend to do because we're beginning to dive into oil painting and digital art. So it's made more sense to give it a general name. And also, Android is not a name you can actually register as a business because it's already related to Google Android devices. So it's just a nickname, it's not official. So the official name of this studio is Blended Art Studio. And yeah. So yeah, it's a team of creative minds that we just come together, learn and grow and do art and be creative. So like I said, we were initially focused on traditional art, paint drawing mainly, but now we include in our packages and services we offer, we include photography, videography, digital art, and so on. We're also a CAC Corporate Affairs Commission registered company. We have a small number of staff, and very soon we'll be staffing up and getting more people on board. All right, let's take a minute to know our tutors. So, Blast basically is headed by two people in partnership, and that is myself, Osaratin, Benosa Osaratin Isaac, and also Iria Great. He is the director of photography, while I'm the creative art director. So we basically divided the studio into two sections, photography and art. And Great is in charge of the photography, and he has been doing excellently well since he took that responsibility. And may the Lord continue to strengthen him. So in this training, you will see Great a lot and you will learn from him a lot. So just be open to learn from either of us, and I'm pretty sure you will not regret it. Okay, um, Great will probably talk about himself when he is taking his own section of these lectures. But a little bit about Great. He is an architect, graduated from University of Benin, and he also developed a passion and a liking for art. So I was saying Great is an architect, and he also developed a passion and a liking for art and eventually photography, which he is very good at. He's good at art, he's good at photography, and personally, I feel he does better job in snapping while I do a better job in editing. But Everybody has their strengths. I usually do not have the patience to kind of create a shot and all that. I just see the shot and take it. But he is more the kind of person that will settle down and understand and set up the lights and set up the stage before taking the shot. So he's more detailed in the area of taking pictures. Why I prefer to just do it fast and focus more on the editing. So I take more time with editing. So um here are some of our studio pictures, just a few, and notice how vibrant and colorful they are. This is not how we started. Okay, so a lot of these came with a lot of improvements. You know what to do with the background, leaving it a plain background, adding the ground textures, the lighting. If you look at the middle picture, right, you can see a lot of rim light effect on the side. So we discuss a lot about lighting, 3-point lighting and multiple lights or single light, depending on what you have access to. We've also been privileged to handle some people's wedding coverage, and there's so much to talk about when it comes to weddings, but I'm not going to go there now. So basically, our agenda for the week one, because this is officially week one for the online training. Our agenda for the week one includes introduction to photography. So we'll talk about lighting and lighting techniques. I would like to go ahead and then go back to the basics. So my style of teaching will actually include um, moving forward to actually show you some things that you may not understand yet. For example, I could show you my editing process, and a lot of it will be confusing to you if you do not have any background knowledge. So I do that in that manner so that for someone that is more further along, they would also be able to be carried along in every single lesson. So this lesson will be profitable to anyone, whether you are a beginner in photography or you're already good at it, you just want to improve on your editing skills. So now we're going to talk about the softwares and the tools required. And talking about the tools, first of all, you're going to need a laptop. Okay. You're going to need a laptop because with a laptop, you can handle Photoshop. You have to use a laptop to install Photoshop. So a laptop that has the processing power to handle Photoshop, and I feel the minimum specs for such a laptop to run Photoshop smoothly should be a Core i3 or i5 processor and a 256 gigabyte SSD storage. SSD is short for solid state drive. So this is better than hard drive because the hard drive has mechanical parts. SSD is just faster. And then 8 gigabytes of RAM minimum is a good benchmark for Photoshop. Also, if you can get a laptop that has dedicated NVIDIA graphics or any sort of dedicated AMD graphics card, that would be helpful. But I feel from experience, a good SSD storage and a good amount of RAM memory would do the job for Photoshop. Except you are going into video editing, then that's where you actually need a lot more power on your laptop. Now, another thing you would need as a tool is an external mouse. The reason why you would need an external mouse is there is a lot you can do without an external mouse, yes, but using the mouse makes using the brush tool a whole lot easier. So in Photoshop, you'll be using the brush tool a lot, in painting the skin and all that. So with an external mouse, that would make doing that a whole lot easier. Another tool that will be useful is a digital drawing tablet. Okay. Now, a digital drawing tablet is a device that comes with a pen and it allows you to work like you are using an iPad. So it has a surface where you can draw on. So to be as though you are working on a touch screen computer. Okay. So this is best for smooth brush work and it's highly recommended. And unlike unlike a few years back, you can actually get digital drawing tablet for as low as 20,000 naira. Or if I'm going to speak in dollars, I guess that's yeah, as low as $30. Okay. Let's talk about there are different brands of digital drawing tablets. You have Vike, which is the one I personally use, not because it's the best, but because it's the most affordable, or it's on the affordable side. You have Gammon, you have Huon, and the likes. So whichever one you want to use, just make sure it has good reviews and a lot of people use it and enjoy it, and you'll be fine. Also, size doesn't matter. I used to think the bigger the better, right? So I have a big one, about 8 inch by 12 inch. But then I went to Encourage and they all use small tablets. Even the boss himself uses this very small tablet. So that means size actually doesn't matter. So whatever size you can lay your hands on for a digital tablet, you're good to go. All right, let's move on to the softwares. The softwares you're going to be using. The very first software we're going to talk about is Photoshop itself. Rather, let's talk about Lightroom first, okay? So the first software I want us to address is Lightroom, Adobe Lightroom Classic. This is a raw image processing software with amazing batch image processing abilities. And when I say batch image processing, imagine you went for a wedding shoot and you went out there and you took a lot of pictures. You would really struggle to edit all of them in Photoshop because Photoshop just doesn't do well with a lot of pictures at a time. In fact, for every picture you load on your Photoshop, it takes a huge chunk of your RAM memory. So the more pictures you want to load at a time on Photoshop, you're just going to have a very laggy and slow experience in Photoshop altogether. But in your Lightroom, you can upload, you can put in hundreds of pictures, if not thousands of pictures, and Lightroom will be able to handle it better. We'll also talk about Capture One because Capture One is also a powerful raw image processing software, and I feel it even handles more pictures even better than Lightroom. But let's stay with Lightroom because Lightroom and Photoshop kind of goes hand in hand. Okay. Now, Lightroom is actually helpful for advanced color manipulation. Now, when you see vibrant images like the one we had in the start, okay, you see these colors are really popping. There is no way the camera produced this color quality, okay, whether it's a raw image or a processed image, couldn't have been this vibrant. I mean, look at the shirts, look at the blue and the red, it's amazing. This could only have been done with Lightroom or Capture One. Okay. So when you see images like this, just know that this guy knows how to use Lightroom. Of course, there are other ways around it, but we'll get there when we get there. So if you want to create vibrant, stunning images without worrying too much about Photoshop, this is the software to learn. In fact, I urge most of my students to pay the most attention here in Lightroom because understanding this will unlock a world of possibilities for you and your color grading journey. When I say your color grading journey, it spans way more than just photography. If you ever want to dive into videography, like um, if you've seen some of our work in videography, you would also need the knowledge you learn from Lightroom, okay, to understand colors and how to manipulate them. Okay, so whether you're a photographer, right, or just someone that wants to upload better quality photos for their businesses or their brands, you should try to understand Lightroom. Yeah. And I believe a lot of us here have very good smartphones, and you are here, with us in this internship training, not because you want to become a professional photographer, but because you want to be able to take good pictures and edit them for your brand. So you could have a tailoring business like my friend Grace, and this would benefit you a lot. So if you could learn how to make the most of your device in taking better pictures, also editing them, then this class would have been very helpful. So, what I'm trying to say is by following with this class and understanding what we are going to teach, you actually do not need to have a digital camera for this class to benefit you. With the smartphone you have, and with your knowledge with the knowledge we're going to give you on lighting and editing, so you can actually get Lightroom for your phone, because I'll be teaching you a little bit of Lightroom for mobile. Okay, so as long as you have a smartphone and you can download Lightroom on your phone, this course will be actually intentionally sectioned in such a way that we'll have that for smartphone photography, and we'll also have a section for a digital camera photography, the one that involves the studio and all that technical stuff. So, but irrespective of who you are, there will be a section for everyone. And I urge everyone to also take the lighting section important, which will probably be the next section where we'll talk about lighting, because lighting is useful for everyone, whether you're in photography, videography, whether you just want to take pictures of your products, take pictures of your dresses. If you're a tailor, you really just need to understand um, lighting. Okay, so we'll talk about lighting, and it's going to be a very, 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 very amazing journey for us. Okay, so we just talked about Lightroom, right? And I said there is Lightroom for mobile, which I would also show you guys. Let's talk about Photoshop. Now, Photoshop is an image creation, graphic design, photo editing software. Basically, it is the ultimate photo editing software. It's hands on the best there is, and it has been so for decades now. Now, it works with a system called layers, and with Photoshop layers, it can allow you to have incredible control over the aspect of the image you want to edit. So, with Photoshop, you can actually do things like changing background of a picture, removing spots and wrinkles from skin, and you can also manipulate colors and so on. So it becomes even more powerful when you use Photoshop with plugins and actions. Like there's a plugin called Retouching Academy, and so there's a plugin in Photoshop called Retouching Academy. We also have skin finer, portraiture, frequency separation action, and so on. Now, all these terms may sound like a lot, but please just bear with us. You will soon get a hang of it. Now, it's also good for you to be aware that Photoshop has its own inbuilt camera raw software. and allows you to perform Lightroom kind of actions and Lightroom style of color grading on your images. So learning Photoshop actually literally can change your life, and learning Photoshop has actually changed my life. So you should try not to joke with it. Okay. So it's important that before we actually get to this section where we go into Photoshop and use it, you should try and download the software and also start practicing by yourself so you have better questions for me when I start teaching it. So when you can download Photoshop, if you need help getting Photoshop, let me know. I will try to help you with it. So Skin Finder is another plugin and Portraiture also. This just helps skin editing. Okay. Now you may be wondering, right, why. Now you may be wondering why learn from me? Why do you want to learn from Blast photography? And what's the benefit of this course? You may have noticed that we are not charging you for this course. That is because you are among the lucky first set of Blast photography interns. So good for you. But subsequently, this would be a paid course. That means you should take advantage of this time because uh, because it's a one-time something, and it will not remain free. But while it's free, I hope to actually give the best value for your time because also I feel like your time is also precious to me, and I would not want to joke with that. But also, you may have also noticed that the duration of this course is not fixed yet. That means it could be a 1 month course, could be two, could be three, could even be 6 months. That's because, first of all, we really do not know how long it will take to cover all the topics and projects that we have planned for you, and how long it will take to actually carry everyone along. So, we have not set dates for it yet. But we have been able to set dates for the online version of this training for Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And you will have to bear with me if I'm unable to make one of these days because of my extremely busy schedule at the moment. Okay? Because as I'm teaching you, I'm also learning from others myself. I have a lot of premium courses that I'm also taking in photography. And I'm currently a youth corps serving with Encourage Photo Creative Academy, where I'm also an intern. So, you know, yeah, the learning never stops. Learning more about photography, and as you know, I run a photography studio with my friend, son, brother, and partner. We are great. So, who will also be teaching you from time to time? In fact, we have weddings to cover on occasions, including this weekend. So, we actually do a lot and we're actually always really busy. So, bear with us when we cannot make a class or um, where we seem to like be having issues meeting up with some of this schedule. And also because we actually insist that you learn from practice. Now, here at Blast, we've successfully edited thousands of pictures over the years, and we've not only edited but we've shot thousands of pictures both in studio and outside of studio. This is one of those sections, but this was done at Encourage Photography Academy. So this was one of our student projects. Like I said, I'm also an intern in another studio. So we shot this with a model and edited them. So before a shoot like this, it's important to actually plan what you intend to shoot in a form of a mood board, just like giving you ideas and different poses and styles you intend to achieve. Otherwise, you would, oh, I love this. Otherwise, you will spend a lot of time just doing the same thing. Okay. This software at the moment is called Capture One. All right, let's move on. So, why exactly should you learn from us? Okay. Apart from the fact that we've edited and shot thousands of pictures, um, it is also important to know that we have. So, why should you learn from us? Apart from the fact, so why should you actually learn photography from us? Now, apart from the fact that here at Brass we have shot and edited thousands of pictures since we officially started in November of 2020. Prior to this, I've been taking pictures and videos in my own home studio where I actually created a lot of YouTube videos for my art YouTube channel. Yes, I'm an artist if you were not already aware, but I'm currently on a journey to improve my art. And for that, I actually just paid another very good artist to learn hyperrealism, and that's Peter Fleming Arts Studio. So basically, all my days are booked between Blast Photography Studio responsibilities, Encourage Photography Academy, which is my NYC, Peter Fleming Art Academy, and all that and other things that just take my time. Not to mention being part of the highly esteemed Windows movie production crew. By the way, if you have not yet seen Professor Suddenly movie by now, I strongly advise that you do so. So we're actually privileged here, myself and Great, to and Ogaga also to be a part of the Professor Suddenly production crew, and it was an experience indeed. This is Dwayne. This is their cinematographer, the guy on blue, and he is amazing. Does a lot of work, and is very good at it. This is Laura Miyokukusheshe. She's also their um, movie director, and just a lot of BTS shots. And the Windows actually have very good gadgets like Black Magic 4K and 6K, and they have a lot of them. So this is setting up the light. So if you actually saw this Miyokuku Sheshe scene where she appeared to Professor Suddenly, you would know that the lighting was really good there. So it actually took a reasonable amount of calculation to get the lighting done properly. So all these scenes were shot, and if you remember, this is actually the very first, okay, not the very first scene, but very first indoor scene after the prologue. So this is Reverend Ois and Mrs. Anwulio Jekere. Lots of beautiful shots here we're done. By the way, I edited this BTS shots also in Lightroom, but I'm just previewing them to you in Capture One. And this is the shot for Miyoko Kusheshe, where she actually appeared, and it was actually awesome. You can see there's a lot of haze. So whenever you're trying to create something cinematic, um, having some haze in the shot is not a bad idea at all. This is actually what you call dramatic lighting, okay? We're not trying to get everywhere exposed and everywhere illuminated. We just want to concentrate the viewer's attention to a particular area. So this is a very dramatic lighting. You don't just do this unless you have a story you're trying to tell with it. Okay, and this is the first scene. This is a shot from the first scene. And surprisingly, they decided to use my car because oh, there's a drone on top of my car. They decided to use my car because it's a small car and they were trying to just portray a not so wealthy woman, you know. So yeah, so that was my car in the first scene of the movie. And this was the ninth scene we shot. I'm sorry, we're still talking about photography, right? So just allow me go through this quickly. So so this was the ninth scene we shot where the prophet suddenly picked up the Miyoko Kusheshe on the street. So powerful lens used. This is the first time I actually saw a camera rig on a car. As you can see, this looks like this spider claw thing. It's actually a camera rig for a car, and it was actually amazing to set that up for the first time. By the way, I was very exhausted this night, and I'm pretty sure I slept halfway through the shoot. So this is myself and Great taking some pictures with very expensive cameras that we are so scared not to drop. And now all these BTS shots also are very, very good shots. Like you can see a lot of foreground and background elements. Those were all intentional. So if you've seen the movie, you probably know that this is a very good scene, very iconic. And yeah, that's enough BTS shots from Professor Lily that I want to show you for now. So basically, we're going to wrap up the introduction, and in our next lesson, we will talk about lighting. We'll talk about the different kind of lighting, the different techniques of lighting, and we'll make it so practical that you actually can start applying the knowledge with using just the sunlight and a reflector and basically whatever kind of lights you can find in the house. Okay, so you do not have to start spending money to actually apply what you are learning in this course. So thank you for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed your time with us. I certainly enjoyed my time here, and until next time, I'll see you again.